Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome my friends here on the screen, and welcome to the people far away. Some people watch on Facebook, so welcome to you. And I'm happy to be in that room. So this is the room of the divine feminine and divine masculine. Mira, can you please mute the... Hi, Jivan.
Hi.
Hi. So this is the room of the divine masculine and divine feminine and divine masculine, and I'm here because I'm also representing Sacred Female Rising, and I'm very honored to be here and that Mira Michelle is providing that space. Today I'm going to introduce you into a certain approach of breathing. First of all, I need to know, can you hear me properly? Just thumbs up or yes, great. So let's start with one thing already when we are here. Now, if you sit or if you stand, put your hands on your lower rib cage. So it's basically where your ribs are finishing off. And now, I guess, except Jivan, everybody was not running around now. So just we are in a kind of silent mode. So now, watch your breathing, just going in and out. Okay. So was it easy for you to feel the breathing there? Yes? Great. So this is, I think most people know that this is the area where we normally should breathe in order to saturate the blood with oxygen. Now, I think one question is, why do I talk about breathing in that room? When I'm on a sacred journey into whatever, like to sacred sites, I always focus on my breathing. So my breathing is my access into the realm of of meditation, of also sensing outside what my brain is telling me. Okay, now, and this method that I'm showing you today is actually connected to a very healthy breathing and a rather, I would say, yin than yang approach, because normally we are told to deep breathing and a lot of breathing, right? And today I will tell a little bit, not the opposite, but a little bit from the other side. Okay, now when we are in stress or we have lung conditions like asthma or coughing, we tend to breathe more. We tend to breathe shallow and fast. And that actually feeds into the symptoms. I know what I'm talking about because I also have asthma myself, especially in allergic situations with cats. And I use this method to overcome those symptoms. Kannst du die Tür mal bitte wieder zumachen? Kannst du mal bitte zumachen? The point is that the more I'm breathing, the less I get oxygen in the situation of an asthma attack. And I'm sure here probably many people of you that are healthy, that don't have any breathing constrictions, right? But even for you, this approach can be very helpful, especially in those times where we face infections of different cold viruses. So what I want to start with is, if you have your mobile next to you or any stopwatch, can you open something like a stopwatch in your mobile, or do you have something like this close by? Jivan, you also have one? Ah, great, you have a real one, wow. Okay, so what we do now, when we are in a let's say in a relaxed mode, we measure the breath hold time after our exhale. The breath hold time after the exhaling gives us an indication how much is our oxygen saturation in our blood. That has been studied extensively in 1975. They kind of confirmed that there's really a relation. I'm gonna tell you more about the Buteyko breathing thing background later, but now I want to go more into tools so that you can use them in your daily life. And in between, I will also talk a little bit about the background. So now, how do we measure the breath hold time? First of all, you go into awareness of your normal breathing, and you go with the flow of inhale and exhale through the nose, right? Then after, let's say 2-3 breaths after the exhale, you close your nose, you pinch it with your fingers after the exhale, and you put the start button, and then you just dive into it. And what I mean with it is you feel into, okay, when is my first real desire to breathe? That means you don't go to the optimum, you don't go to like, that's, I really need to breathe now, but you don't go too early off the road of holding the breath. So when you get the first real constrictions of your breathing muscles, then you will open your nose and breathe, and the breath after that should be normal, not very deep. Okay? Everything clear so far? Can we go into it, or is there any question? Okay, let's do it. Okay, in your own speed. Okay, now just remember the number on your stopwatch, just for yourself. Just remember it throughout the session. We will come back to that. Now, the breath hold time is meant to be in a functional state around 25 in a silent mode. So let's say when we had a rest, we were sitting for at least 10 minutes. Then you measure that time, and then you have a clear value. The best time to measure your breath hold time is in the morning after you woke up. So you sit on your bed, you just go with the breath for a few seconds, and then you measure it. And that gives you also an indication how well you slept in that night. The other thing is your mouth moistured? Then it's an indication that you were breathing through the nose, and that also tells you how you were sleeping that night. So an optimum breath hold is 40 seconds. So I would guess that not many people have a 40 seconds breath hold time in rest time, but you can train yourself up to it because it optimizes your blood saturation, right? Okay, so that's number one. Very important tool, the breath hold. Now, when you're not in a position of some constriction because you're coughing or you're sneezing or you have any problem, the main rule of breathing after the Buteyko approach is light, slow, and deep. And the acronym for those who want to have that in mind, it is LSD, light, slow, and deep. So it means you inhale a gentle breath and then into the lower rib cage area, and then you exhale. Then you wait for a second and you inhale again. So now we're going to do that for a moment. I count you in for that. There is no breath holding right now. It's just breathing normal through the nose. And I count you in and out. So just for a moment, check in with your breath. Maybe put your hands here on the lower rib cage. I always want to say lip cage, but it's the rib cage. You can also put your hand on the belly if it feels better for you. I sometimes do that to feel that movement, but this is most safe to see whether it's really moving. For those of you that have actually not the lower belly moving, but the chest, you really try to reduce that while you inhale and you focus on your belly. So now let's go. You breathe in for 2, 3, 4, and out for 3, 4, 5, 6. And in for 2, 3, 4, and out for 3, 4, 5, 6. And in for 2, 3, 4, and out for 3, 4, 5, 6. And in for 2, 3, 4, and out for 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So this is kind of the rhythm of the light and slow and deep breathing through the nose. And the optimum is 6 times per minute. So the idea is that you don't breathe more than you actually need. Are there any questions so far? Okay. So this is the normal breathing. So once you now imagine you would have a cold or something, you would feel not very well. Then you would use the breath hold, especially if you're breathless, right? It can happen when you have a cold that you feel breathless. Also when you walk up the stairs or something. Especially when you're breathless, when you're in a rest state, that is an indication that you have some issues with your lungs. So now the breath hold is what we just did when we measured our breathing time. So let's say you have a cold, you walk along the street and you want to higher the level of blood saturation. You exhale, you hold your nose for 5 seconds, and then you inhale for 10 seconds. So you go, you hold it after the exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you inhale, and you breathe normal for 10 seconds. And you do that 6 to 8 times, and then you walk normally. So you can do that in a rest mode or in a walking mode. The walking mode is more for people that feel really good with this kind of approach, because you should not feel too much air hunger, right? It should feel comfortable. Okay, so this is one tool. What I do a lot when I'm biking, I stop my breathing after an exhale and I bike for 5 to 6 pedals. And then I inhale very subtle and exhale. And then I go on normal, and then I do it later after a minute again. I do that a few times. And then with every time of breath holding, the breath holding time gets longer. Okay? So now another technique that is important, if your nose is tapped because you have like a cold, then of course you release of the stuff that is disturbing you, and then sometimes the nose is still tapped. You cannot really breathe through both nose, how you say that? You know what I mean. Now what you do is you exhale, and the same here, you shake your head for 5 to 6 seconds. Then you inhale, very gentle, breathe very normal. And you do that 3 to 5 times and your nose will open. I did that many times, and also I do that with my little one. When he is having a cold, he knows that this is the way to open the nose. Now, is there any question so far? Because I feel a bit like, oh, there are so many things I want to tell you, but I don't want to overflood you with information, and I want to know what was useful so far, and what do you want to know more about? Yeah, you can just speak up.
Perhaps, Gregor, if you explain something, we could do an exercise so that we know how to do this. Mm-hmm. And I think it keeps better in the memory if we do this.
Yeah, great idea. Thank you. Okay, then let's do the exercise on what I just said. Now, I think I gave so many examples how to use it. I think we should move into that a bit more. Thank you, Giza. Now, let's do the nose thing. So we exhale, we pinch the nose, and we shake the head. 5 to 6 seconds. Release. Breathe normal. I mean, nobody of you has a tapped nose now, right? Okay, but you probably feel that there is a difference already. Now let's do it again. Exhale. Add. Inhale. Normal. So if I want to open my nose, I would do that 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So now you have an idea, right? So the reduced breathing, what we just did. The other thing that I really advise you to do, I mean, I don't know who is watching on Facebook now, but at least the people that are with me now, I know you're healthy. So I would suggest when you walk on the street, it's probably not the moment where you want to pinch your nose, right? Because people might think something. Sometimes I don't care, I just do it. But sometimes I just exhale and I hold my breath. So when I walk, I would do like this. I exhale. And then I walk for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale. Walk normal. And then I would do it again. Shall we all do that together maybe for now? I mean, you have the things here, but maybe we get some moving. I don't care where you move around, just that we do it together. So we stand up and you go with your breathing, you exhale, you pinch your nose and you walk as long as it feels comfortable. There might be some light air hunger. And then you walk on while you open your nose. And now you walk normal. Normal breathing through the nose. And you would walk on a little bit more. Exactly. How does it feel? There was just one.
It does feel good. I mean, it opens up a lot here.
Yeah. Look, the thing is, yeah.
Okay, because my time limit is done.
Bye-bye. Thank you that you have been in here. I can tell you more when we see each other. Ciao.
Yes. No.
Ciao. Okay, so I need to be in the frame of the 45 minutes, or we still have some time. Is there, now, since you are still here, I want to know, I have some more stuff that I want to show you that you can feel. Is anybody of you interested in some background information about the breathing thing or about where it comes from? Then I would like to know. Okay. Okay, at this point I will talk a little bit about that. Okay, so I told you already about the LSD, the light, slow and deep. Now, this technique comes from Dr. Konstantin Buteyko, who was a lung doctor from Ukraine, and he invented that kind of method on himself because he was having severe symptoms with his kidneys and he was going to die, but eventually he got over it while practicing reduced breathing. And then he developed a method that especially helps people with respiratory symptoms. But what you get out from this method is more than the things like it's not only good for asthma and bronchitis, but also for a lot of other things. Also, if you have troubles with anxiety, it really calms you down and relaxes you. Now there is a great source on internet. It's called buteykoclinic.com. They're in London, and they have a lot of research and a lot of good YouTube videos as well. One main guy there is Patrick McKeown. He also wrote many books on it, also how to train it. So I use this method a lot when I train, when I do sports, when I do calisthenics, to enhance my also my training effect in that moment, but also how many repetitions I can do. It gets more when I hold my breath in between. So and also when I do rope jumping, I would use this method to jump while I don't breathe. So I start exhaling and I go jumping for a few rounds, as much as it feels good. And normally I would jump for 40 seconds spinning without breathing, and then I would just inhale a little bit, wait for 5 to 10 seconds, and then exhale, and then again. And this I do for 2 minutes to really bring myself into a room where I feel a big air hunger while I'm training, but still so much that it's comfortable and relaxing. So you need to train that. You cannot do that cold. I would advise, if you start with that training, you should do it walking, because it's very contributional to your oxygen saturation. Okay, anything else about background? Yeah, the thing, while the nose breathing is so important, the nose breathing helps you to clean the air that is coming in, and the air goes down into your lower lungs, because there is most of blood and gas circulation happening, and there you really have the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. You know what I mean. The thing is that normally the what is that gas called in English? I wrote it down somewhere. Can anybody help me? It's not carbon dioxide. How do you say that in English? Yeah, carbon dioxide, right? Okay. So now the good thing to know is the carbon dioxide is not just a waste of the breathing. It is the presence of carbon dioxide gives us, it needs the presence of carbon dioxide so that our body is taking in oxygen. If you don't have carbon dioxide in your blood, the blood cells will not release oxygen. So, and the good thing is that if you train with a breathing method like this, your blood saturation gets better because you're used to more carbon dioxide in your blood. Does it make sense? It's a bit the opposite from what we hear normally, right? We hear we need to deep breathe, German and English, so great. We need to take a deep breath and breathe a lot, right? But that's not true. The amount of oxygen is not the amount that is really getting into the blood. There's another thing. There is a lot of dead space between your nose and between your lung where the actual exchange is happening in the blood. And that is the nose, the mouth, the trachea, and the upper bronchial system. At least 150 milliliter of dead space you have always filled with air when you breathe. And since that is not needed, you don't need to breathe that much. And it's easy to say, right? So now I will do another exercise that helps you to get into the mode of reduced breathing. Now, another great way what you can do, we're gonna do that together now, is humming. Okay, now we're gonna hum. You can stay muted if you want. And the note it doesn't matter. So I'm not talking to you as a musician now, I talk to you as a Buteyko practitioner. So just hum with any note and breathe through your nose. So when you're ready with the humming, you breathe in through the nose. Let's do that for, let's say, 5 times. I do it here and you do it for yourself with your own note. Okay. Now, since I rediscovered the humming, I do that during the day many times. Just when I do stuff in the kitchen or when I walk around, I do humming or singing even, but I breathe through my nose. What they figured out with this is that here in this area, in the sinus area and in the nose, there is a gas produced that is called nitric oxide. And nitric oxide, NO, is what really sterilizes the air that is coming into the lungs. The lung is not producing that much nitric oxide. It's mainly the nose. That's another reason why it's so essential to breathe through the nose. And especially in those times where people wear masks and where it's a lot about not getting infected, breathe through your nose and you will be more safe. When you're around somebody that is sneezing or coughing, reduce your breathing. If you want, you can also stop it, but really reduce, because then you will not get as much. The good thing with producing nitric oxide, that will also be produced when you hum, but also when you hold your breath, when you shake your head, when you hold your breath, when you just walk around, when you sit silent and hold your breath for a few seconds. You inhale that nitric oxide, it goes into your lungs and it cleans your lungs. So they have done some research on that, but I think there is still more to come. And the funny thing is that, of course, the yogis and all the other meditation people knew since, I don't know, thousands of years. They're doing Om, Om to do the mantras and to do these kind of singing. It really does good for you, but also on that level. That's very interesting, I think. So remember, when you do some humming like that, to breathe through your nose, so that, because humming without nose breathing doesn't make sense, because then you would not inhale the nitric oxide. Okay, there is an exception when you're a professional singer or when you sing in a choir. Of course, you sometimes breathe through the mouth because it's faster. But if you have the time, breathe through your nose. And also, when you exercise, breathe through the nose. When you run, when you sleep. Now there's another thing when you sleep. I use this. This one is called leukosyl. Now you see the other way around, right? That you get in a pharmacy. There is different kind. What I like with this one, you can just do this. And I put that on my mouth in the night. It looks very funny, I know. And that helps you. Now Barbara's shaking her head. It helps you from snoring. It helps you really to make sure that you're breathing through the nose. I'm not kidding. It's really, most people don't know how they breathe in the night. And when you don't breathe through your nose, you mess up basically your system. You have a dry mouth and you will feel that in the morning. So I use that not always. I use it when I have some kind of cold or when I'm in stress. Right now I have a lot of things, so I do it actually now. Sometimes I find it in the morning here somewhere or somewhere on the pillow, but that doesn't matter. At least I have used it probably for some time in the night. There's also stuff for children. It's called myotape.com. I can put it here in the chat. Wait a second. Myotape.com. This is because children, you should not tape the lips of children, but it is around the lips, that tape. So you can still talk, but it keeps the lips a bit like this. So that's also a good thing that you can get to help yourself with staying focused with the breathing through the nose. Okay, so now I want to actually finish with some kind of little meditation to give you a sense of breath reduction while meditating. Is there any question so far about, I don't know, background or what I talked about? Okay, good. Now, let's sit comfy, so I will take you down that I also sit. And let's do it like this. Close your eyes and sit straight so that you sit really good on your sitting bones. You can even walk to a place where you feel better. And make it yourself comfortable. And now you put your hand on your lower belly. And now you check in with your breath. So you just feel, where is your breath at the moment? And while you go with your breath, you also feel, okay, there are my sitting bones. And I relax into them. And I relax my legs, even my feet. And whilst I'm doing that, I feel my breathing going in and out. And I don't push it, I just let it do its gentle work with my mouth closed. And then I use my presence and my breathing waves to relax the other parts in the body. I relax also the area around the sitting bones. I relax even my belly that I'm touching. I relax also my jaw, my tongue. My face can be relaxed now. And my arms, also the elbow that is holding there, the hand on the belly. Relax the elbow, the space under the arms. And now go free somewhere. Where is in the body a place where you feel, okay, here I can let go. Let go. And whilst you do that, you feel your breath going in and out very gentle. Now, when you're in a deeper, relaxed state now, you try to limit your inhale a little bit. So the inhale, you feel it in your hand, going like into that hand. Now you make that a little bit less. And then you let it exhale. You do that very relaxed. It's more like you're too lazy to breathe. Very lazy. You're so relaxed right now that even inhaling is a bit, yeah, you can let go. It means that every inhale that is coming, you just let it go. And every now and then there might be more inhaling want to come in, then you just let it in. And then you let it go. And whilst you do that, you might feel that your belly maybe goes into a little bit of tension. Then you need to inhale a little bit more to feel more comfortable. So the main thing you do also while you do the reduction of breath, you relax your lower belly. Okay. Now slowly come back. Open your eyes. Still keep the focus on the breathing for a moment, on your presence. Now put your hand away from the belly and breathe normal. So no reduction at the moment, just normal breathing through your nose. We wait for 1 minute. The thing is that this is the normal thing that I do in the morning after I did my breath hold. I sit and meditate with my hand on the belly in order to relax my body. I mean, after sleeping, there's not so much to relax, but the main thing I do is I want to reduce my breathing, but in a gentle way, in a relaxed way. And then after 1 minute or 1 minute 30, you measure again your control break, your breath hold. So with a mobile or with a stopwatch, we can do that now. If it's not a big hassle. So you go on a stopwatch. And now you measure your breath hold. You do it like we did before. You watch your breathing for 2 breaths or 3 breaths. Then at a certain moment where you feel now I can measure it, you exhale. You pinch your nose. You put start at the same time. And then you don't watch the stopwatch. You just feel into. And then after the moment when you feel, okay, now I really need to breathe. It should not be the maximum. It should be the first real urge to breathe. So a constriction somewhere here or something that you feel like now I really need to breathe. Then you put stop and then you see what it was the breath hold time. And if you have done the breath hold in the beginning of that session, you can compare it. Let's do that now individually, so in your tempo. So you go with your breath and after a certain time you exhale, pinch your nose and measure. Okay, now look on your watch. Was it more than before? Okay. Good. That gives you I do an introduction now. In a normal Buteyko setting, I would probably meet the person 2 more times just to see how you how you use that tool in your daily life. But now you have raised your carbonate oxide in the blood, and also your ability to saturate your blood with oxygen. Okay. Is there any question so far? Otherwise, I would stop so that somebody else can come into the room now. You're all clear? Thank you so much, my dear, all of you, supporting this session with your presence and going with it. And see you. Bye-bye. All the best.